Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. The factor begins right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Roman Factor. You are about to enter the no-spin zone. Tonight on our show, we are debating American involvement in Libya, and boy, have we got a program for you tonight. We've got a blast from the past, and on behalf of the Roman Senate, may I present to you Cato the Elder, the original Republican and head of the Grand Old Party. On behalf of the Roman people, everyone's favorite consul, Gaius Marius, at least everyone's favorite, until he started slaughtering his own people. As our military expertise, we have Consul Lucius Generalis, fresh from Gaul in those campaigns against the fleshy barbarians. And finally, representing the foreign perspective, our favorite king, Philip of Macedon.
Civilian targets had been hit. French warplanes destroying a number of pro-Gaddafi vehicles near the rebel-held city of Benghazi. You're with BBC News. This is BBC News with Peter Dobby. The headlines.
Tonight, British forces are in action over Libya. They are part of an international coalition that has come together to enforce the will of the United Nations and to protect the Libyan people.
As British jets head off from their RAF airbase, David Cameron says military action against Colonel Gaddafi is necessary and right. A British submarine and US warships fire more than 100 Tomahawk missiles at Libyan air defense sites. Earlier, France said its aircraft attacked and destroyed military vehicles operated by pro-Gaddafi forces.
We'd like to start things off tonight with a question from one of our celebrity followers in Hollywood. This one from Charlie Sheen to Philip. Philip, how do you feel about Gaddafi slaughtering his own people?
Well, America doesn't seem to understand the situation. Gaddafi is trying to keep the stability in his country, trying to give America a better ally that will give America a voice in the Middle East. There's no just basis behind America's invasion of Libya. It is no other country's business how Gaddafi decides to run his country. Gaddafi has decided that slaughtering some of his own people is the only way for him to gain respect in his country.
Philip, clearly you don't understand. If you weren't being a faithful American ally, we need to invade you. We need to train troops for a bigger war in Afghanistan. As a Roman military leader, I know that we need to be savage against our enemies and concern ourselves with protecting our interests. Therefore, America has a right to concern themselves. As they are the greatest empire in the entire world, they have to obliterate anybody who stands in their way.
Well, I do not understand the logic behind your claim that Gaddafi has been unfaithful as an ally to America. Has he ever invaded America in seek of riches and or political power? No. Instead, he has provided leadership in the Middle East, where leadership is scarce. He must have at least some respect from his people, or else he would not have remained leader for so long.
Well, clearly you have a biased opinion because you're a tyrant yourself. As a Roman leader, I believe that great countries like America have an obligation to take down tyrants. Even if democracy is a ridiculous concept, great empires need to free the lesser people from tyrants.
Well, you cannot fault Gaddafi for wanting to remain powerful, not only for himself, but for the benefit of his people. America's invasion has threatened his hold on his people and his wealth, so he has had to resort to more drastic measures, aka killing some of his own people to maintain order in Libya. Just like the Romans, America is always trying to find another excuse to start war. America's involvement in Libya is not justified because while they claim they have intervened for humanitarian purposes, they also must have a political motivation. America does not like the way Gaddafi is running his country, and they want to impose their democratic ideals on the Libyans.
I agree that democracy is ridiculous, but at the same time, America, like Rome, has a justification and has an obligation to take care of other countries and other lesser people, which is why we invaded.
Thank you, Lucius Generalis and Philip, for your presence. Second, we have a question from our tireless and ever-inquisitive American public. This one sent in on Friday, April 29th from a Rebecca Black. How can America possibly justify invading another Middle Eastern country? P.S. Justin Bieber, will you record an album with me? Any thoughts, concerns? Marius.
The American people trust their leader and therefore should trust all of his decisions. Additionally, the American people should consider that this war, as in all wars, would validate the image of America as the superpower that it is. After all, it is only through war that prowess, the only virtue worth attaining, can be assessed. American involvement in Libya is therefore an action necessary in order to prove American prowess.
While it is true that America could stand to gain glory by winning the war in Libya and restoring liberty to an oppressed country, we must consider the true motivation of military action. We must be sure that President Obama and his military leaders want to bring glory to America, and not merely to themselves. Campaigning season has already started, and there's no better way for Obama to build up his image than by portraying himself as a strong military leader and a liberator. He merely wishes to win the votes of the people. But this war is not unjustified merely because of the selfish and ambitious actions of America's president. Obama has no grounds to send America's troops into Libya because he did not first seek congressional approval. There are laws that require such permission to enter war in order to curb the ambitions of the president. Personal ambition, if left unchecked, and in the hands of a man with power, can only lead to corruption and moral decay. In such a case, it won't be long before American leaders are hiring American slave boys and beating them with sticks in the forest.
Regardless of what Cato says about precedent, I am of the opinion that the mos maiorum is a haughty conviction meant to keep the greedy nobility in power and to deter actually capable men, such as myself, away from positions of power. In regards to the lack of congressional approval, it shouldn't matter what the Senate says, so long as the voice of the people is expressed by their leader.
But even if Congress did approve of the war, it would still be unjustified because it is driven by and would only worsen American luxury. The only reason, other than Obama's personal ambition, for this war is to obtain foreign oil and to fuel a luxury-driven consumer society so obsessed with cars and whatnot. America needs to stop being so absorbent and cut their dependence on foreign luxuries such as oil.
I would agree that the virtues of founding fathers is something to be respected. Additionally, I would agree that the American version of nobility, similarly to the Roman nobility, have become corrupted by luxury and avarice and have lost their prowess. Therefore, I believe that the common people who are uncorrupted by this luxury are able to choose the correct leader, and that this leader that they choose should be able to prove his prowess in war.
The American people are, quite frankly, idiots. They are like sheep and follow whichever leader panders most to them. They are hot-headed and short-sighted, and like you, Marius, lack any education to make them capable of voicing any coherent political opinions. Leave the decision-making to the educated elites of America. If history has taught you anything, Marius, which I highly doubt considering that you can't even read Greek, it is that the elites are the best suited to the matters of the state, and that leaders are swayed by the opinions of the people and lead their countries into ruin.
Thank you, Cato and Marius. With that, I would like to welcome back to the program Philip of Macedon and Lucius Generalis for one final question. Is this new war a sign that America is moving towards establishing a new world empire? I'd like to open up this question to all four of you, and remember, no spinning.
I believe that this new war is a sign that America is going to establish a new republic. America needs to protect her interests. After all, I can sympathize with the responsibility of being the greatest leader in the entire world. America, like Rome, should expand her empire because it benefits the other countries and it makes the U.S. that much richer ultimately.
I agree with the consul. Furthermore, I believe that America should constantly be in a state of war because it is only through war that true virtues, such as prowess, are evident.
Well, America might want to establish a new world empire, but it is not in their best interest. If they can continue to invade other countries, they will end up like the Romans, who had such a large empire that they couldn't protect it.
America does want to establish a new world empire, which is not a bad thing in itself. The problem is that America does not have a just reason to do so, as it is motivated primarily by a drive for oil and their leaders' drive for personal glory.
And I believe the world's going to end in 2012, so it doesn't really matter anyway. With that, we'd like to conclude our program. Thank you for tuning in to the O Roman Factor, and don't forget to come back next week for more of this exciting and contentious debate.